burns a tree, consumes all flesh, tears it away, eats, exhausts, and dies. I was a fire. I was a burning thing that consumed all, but when I burned brightest, my trees stood tall. I was the forest that could always burn, and I was the flames. I was a dream before I was alive. I writhed in the head of a child named Sten. He was 12 years old, and his child's mind imagined falling in love. I was his racing heart, and a warmth all through his chest, up his arms, and quivering down his spine. I overwhelmed him with imagined comfort, closeness, and slow touches. Before he realized, the dream changed surely into a nightmare. As the loving arms pulled him closer, the dreaming child looked down and gagged at a deformed beast, mottled fur, giant eyes, snot, and aching breaths. At the climax of terror, he felt lips press into his own. Pity and revulsion mixed irreversibly with his passion. Oh! He woke up with a whisper of my name on his lips. What was I? Even in such perfect vision, I was only half alive. I lived another half-life inside a child named Jewel. From childhood to college, I was the first acts of her unreciprocated gestures, like a lung breathing in but never out. I was the sparks of Jewel's lips touching another, her eyes catching a stranger. Then I was ignored calls, limp hugs, shrugs of shoulders, and tears. Jewel did not catch my fire easily, and inside her I lived no longer than random flings, a handful of dates. I did not know why I failed within Jewel. It wasn't until after college we discovered a piece of what made me different. A roommate trusted Jewel to care for his dog, and oddly, here, among the fur and feces, my half-alive sparks found a halfway home. The threads of my being connected Jewel loosely with the animal, and through that dog's infinite devotion, I knew structure. I did not live, but with a dog host to sustain me, I was no longer dying. Perhaps I was more than a bond. I could be a calling. All my kind want is to exist. We make you want it too. It was my own incompleteness that ate at Sten, helped him give in to drinking and poor hygiene. My loneliness gnawed upon Jewel, influenced her daily actions, led her into debt and more dogs. At our lowest, we had 4 miniature poodles in a studio apartment, but they were not right either. Yips and bites and that hair like a human. I needed union. The gravity of my absence entwined my 2 parts, each a mental womb quaking over spooky distance. Years of invisible tugging drew Sten and Jewel closer. Closer! Decisions to buy a Passat, move to Bloomington, send a resume to this temp firm, each was my doing. One fateful evening as Sten left his job, an exhausting 2-week contract, I was his dead cell phone battery. I willed him to groan and go into the bar to charge his phone. I made him take a seat. Across from him, I had designed that Jewel would be sitting there. She had been stood up yet again, hurt by even the slightest of expectations. I was phlegm in Jewel's throat as she coughed. Sten looked up from his too expensive craft beer. The instant his eye touched Jewel, a piece of my thread shot out. I landed on Jewel's eyes, and a thread of hers connected to his. I was becoming. Threads connected eyes to gentle mounds of cholesterol, uncombed hair, cheeks and shoulders. Too cocky an expression, too deliberate a glance, and each thread could crumble to ash. But my strings remained. Jewel approached. My incipient flesh pulled her like rod and reel. Hi, I noticed you were, Jewel said. Oh, hi. I noticed you too, and, replied Sten. Jewel took a seat. Both of them tried to beckon the bartender, and their hands brushed. For a moment after contact, I sizzled on each body. "Yes," I urged. "Please, yes, more!" Jewel laughed, then Sten laughed, and I breathed for the first time from 4 panting lungs. Ha! Ha ha! Glances multiplied and threads congealed into muscle fibers. I was capillaries filling with blood, cheeks red, and though they had known each other only seconds, they heard my name. Heed my call. Let me become. Forever I would remember the aroma of bacon and pine sol, the sense of my conception in a Ruby Tuesday. In the parking lot, I was the thunder of synchronized hearts. They decided on their next destination, an apartment. I was the heat of 2 people inside a Toyota RAV4. His hand slid into hers, and my roots spilled between flesh, all kindling for what was to come. Parked outside a duplex, I parted 2 sets of lips, covered pupils with eyelids, and brought mouths together in mutual suction. Oh, yes! The sparks filled me, so powerful between both hosts, and I grew eager. I was saliva swallowed by a foreign body, and more of it every second. I would take shape that very night. I could feel it. I was wordless commands as they raced from the RAV4, up the porch and past 2 of Sten's roommates. I was urges, hurry, unhook this, slow down, unzip, ow, more! In 4 minutes flat, I was an orgasm and a half. All the pieces were there. Any other of my kind would be aflame and growing, infecting everything I touched with my holy residue. But I did not become. There was more of me, yes, but I did not live. Spark, but no flame. My threads felt weak, and as Sten turned a shoulder in his sleep, bits of me tore. Sten and Jewel discovered little in common. Sten didn't go out except for work, and he didn't have friends. Sten preferred time alone with his collections. His apartment was a Tetris of broken antiques, estate sale bulk buys, drawers of photos of forgotten families, broken cuckoo clocks, melted action figures from the 60s, and more taxidermy than Jewel preferred. From his socks to his cutlery, everything he collected was broken and disgusting, if just a little bit. Jewel's apartment, on the other hand, was bare. She had few belongings and all her furniture folded. The living space was for the dogs. Dog beds, dog toys, dog food, dog treats, dog smell everywhere. The dogs growled at Sten, and when a toy named Pixie bit his ring finger, he yelled so loud the neighbors heard. My fibers twisted and fell apart, my fires once more slowly dying. Why had I forced these 2 together? What was I lacking? One night, Sten and Jewel went downtown to see a movie. Despite spending more time together, the 2 were increasingly strangers to one another. A thread simmered between their bodies, but it could not grow. The film bridged no divide. Jewel said it was sincere. Sten called it Hallmark bullshit. The couple departed the theater, and Jewel found herself wondering how long the relationship would last. So, Sten, I was thinking, Jewel began. She was going to suggest ending the date early. Hold on, Sten said. He bent down to tie his shoe, and a miracle occurred. As he ducked down over his bent back, Jewel saw it. She patted Sten on the back like she had just spotted a celebrity. Sten quickly turned to see, and with 4 eyes I beheld what my body was missing. It approached on 20 malformed feet. A horde of pugs on 5 leashes scrambled down the icy slope of the sidewalk, graceless ice skaters whose every collision my lovers witnessed. Little yips, mucus sneezed into pavement, secret arthritis, and audible airway obstruction. At once, the disagreement over the movie fell away, and my threads felt firm, full.
Oh,
Jewel said.
oh, my baby Jesus.
Sten declared. They laughed together, and I panted hot breaths. I thought you didn't like dogs. Your dogs. But those dogs? Those are special. Jewel's cheeks grew warm. The two hearts beat as one. Jewel took Sten's hand. Could you ever see yourself maybe even owning a pug? No, Sten said. Jewel was crestfallen. It'd have to be at least 4. Jewel and Sten laughed, and I gulped the air, felt my flames fan higher. I felt like my sparks could burst like a firework. Jewel looked deep into Sten's eyes. It was finally happening. I love you. Sten's heart skipped. Did he love her? With the pugs in the corner of his eye, he said the words I needed him to say. I love you too. In spasms and quakes, my body swelled, the lone strand tying the pair together. The strand took on definition. Out of raw dog substance, I grew a beating heart. Thump, thump! Thump, thump! I was alive! My body had been looks and touches and emotions, but just a smidge of pug was like a healthy squirt of gasoline over my bonfire body. My kindling erupted in spouts of flame, and the char sank deep into flesh. No wonder I had struggled before. I was more than simple love. I, the uncorrupting flame, named of 2 mouths, born of Ruby Tuesday, their unholy spirit, was not just love, but the love of pugs. Pugs! Little feet and gaping mouths. Pugs! Sweaters and hats and booties. Pugs! With my beating heart in place, my lover parents finally became my obedient servants. They knew what bulked my mass, and I demanded they indulge. On Valentine's Day, Sten gave Jewel an antique pug print. Jewel gave Sten a pug sweater. I was the immaterial fire burning between them, and even these ersatz pugs squirted me bolder and tongues of flame. The pair could withhold no more. Sten moved in with Jewel almost entirely so they could own a pug together. Her name was Pringles. She was the first pillar of my empire. In a year, I was 2 more pugs. My fire blazed on snub snouts and possessed every grunting breath and bug-eyed sneeze. Soon enough, their old disagreements were gone, hammered out on the anvil of pugs. Pug coasters, pug blankets, pug stanchies, pug sweatshirts, and the living room, a cross-stitch reading, snug as a pug in a rug. A year passed, another year, and there was a wedding and sex and home ownership, but I didn't care. I was so many pugs, my pugs started having pugs. No human, fleshly tradition could conquer dog flesh, and no lovemaking could gallop on so many feet as my racing dog legs. I decided there was no reason for Sten and Jewel to be separate people. Such wasted space! Sten threw away his old collections, and Jewel gave up her now elderly poodles to the nameless streets. I morphed Sten and Jewel into a single entity. Sten gained Jewel's breasts and debilitating nearsightedness. In imitation of Sten, Jewel became pear-shaped, thin-haired, and slack-shouldered. Their wardrobe simplified, color-coordinated couple sweatpants, each with a pug sweatshirt. The neighbors called them that pug couple, and their obsession repelled all friendship and society. There were no windows within me. There were no other loves. My flame burned 24 hours a day, and to take a breath without my consent was to deny me life. It was then the disturbance occurred. It pained me, distracted me, and threatened to tear my precious threads. The boy! I did not witness the birth of the boy. It was born to strangers outside my love, and it never should have entered my halls. But the parents died, both smeared into non-living paste in the mangled union of a Ford Bronco and a Hyundai Sonata. The child became an orphan, and the law drew meaning from the empty DNA linking Sten's body to the child. Calls were made, tears falsely wept, and with the help of child services, somebody snuck the vapid thing into my home. I didn't even realize when it happened. I was trotting on 42 pug feet through a yard strewn with feces when, inside the house, I heard it scream, "I want my mommy! I want my daddy!" It had no respect. Worse, it could breathe without a snort, and every limb was the proper length? Disgusting! Sten stared upon it and did not know what to feel. Jewel suppressed her disdain, her unwilling obligation. I recoiled. My love had a contagion. I fumed for months. My pug budget was destroyed by the gastric needs of the growing 6 or maybe 8-year-old child. I was a love for 2 alone, and there was no room for more. I did my barest duty. It had a closet, a bag of food, and a bowl of water. I treated it like a pug, and it should have taken that as a compliment. For unlike even the most idiot deformed of my pugs, the child did not absorb my threads. Yes, I coated its every inch, yet I did not seep within. It was a troubled beast. All night, every night, the boy had nightmares, no matter how much Sten yelled at it. Its screaming scared my pugs, my poor babies. I contained it the best I could. Strict curfews, excessive timeouts, limited socializing. The contagion became a prisoner. The child grew, and though unwelcome in my halls, I valued having its confirmation of my mass. Until it was 12 or 13, it too was a being comprised of pugs. Pug brothers and pug sisters, pug chores, pug shirts, and pug conventions with fellow pug heads, where no child except the one wandered alone. Love was the only world it ever saw. My love. It never knew the strangeness in my lovers. One night, the child was stolen away on a sleepover. It had somehow made a contact outside my love. Wrong! Bad! I filled Sten with the impulse to say no, made Jewel's face twist at the prospect, but none of us stopped it in time. I tricked myself into even enjoying a night without the child, a pug photo shoot. But when the child returned, it was changed. It had seen walls with photos of children, blankets with no ode to pugs and licking tongues stitched across. It saw a household where the children were a part of the love, and the love filled them even more brightly than the parents. Upon its return, my love finally appeared as strange as it was. My love became turmoil and struggle because of the pugless child. Each year into its revolting pubescence, it tore at my fibers and spat on my dimming flames. Suddenly, my love was not enough. It wanted to make waste indoors, pick its own clothes, take off its collar. Oh, how my love was anger and burning. Sten and Jewel began to argue at nights, breaking threads of my love out of anger. The worst was yet to come. When the child was 15, it lost a pug. The putrid child of no love opened a back door, and out the pug ran and disappeared from my flame. Sten searched, and Jewel searched. and they were one in their agony as no pug was found. The child denied me, so I denied it. "You're in big trouble, you fuck," said Sten.
"You'll wish you were never orphaned," screamed Jewel.
My love was punishments, no desserts, no mattress, no fluids after 7 p.m. If the child could take a pug away, then it deserved less than even a pug could bear. The child wailed all night through the walls, and no pug could sleep. It began to stop eating its bagged food, so Sten and Jewel let it starve. They gathered all the pugs outside the child's closet door so it could hear as my legion consumed its paltry dinner. Sten seemed to enjoy the torment, while Jewel struggled. My love was strife, and for the first time, Sten and Jewel slept apart. My flames felt cold. The punishment seemed to break the child's will with time. It stopped screaming at night, and my pugs rested. It ate its food and kept its mutt head bowed in respect when it encountered Sten and Jewel. Kept inside the damp closet all hours of the day, its breath even began to clog and rattle like my little pug babies. The walls of my love regained their thickness. Love can hide any number of secrets, and prisoners within go years without sight of sun or stars. Until the child escaped. It ran away that fall. No note, no word, though it did steal $47 from Sten's wallet. I didn't care, and I did not search. He was 16 or 18 years old enough. My love suffered not for it. United and contagion-free, Sten, Jewel, and the love between them succeeded in erasing the child from every hall. Over a particularly romantic weekend of scrubbing and pug-loving, the boy's scent disappeared, its clothes in the trash, and its waste shoveled from the yard. It was never my love. Its perspective was wrong. I hardened Sten and Jewel, turned them ever more resolute. Were my waters not filling? Was my roof not protecting? Were my pugs not perfectly snub-nosed, deformed half-dogs? Be gone, I said. My love grew, and years passed not by ones or twos, but by 5s and 10s. Without the boy, there was no distinguishing one decade from the next. There were more pugs than I could count. Rosie, Baby Eager, Mr. Little, Silky, Silly, and Sarge, Tugger, Slugger, Nugget, and Pepper, Badges, Buttons, Biscuits, and Nash, Henry, Henry II, Henry III, and Henry Fool, Sudsy, Bugsy, Pugsley, and Paisley. Then there were pugs with no names. Nameless pugs. The beginning of the end. Sten was the first to go. My love was hospice. My love was a triumphant recovery. My love was hospice again. My love was a funeral. The boy did not attend. Good! I didn't care. Suddenly, I was empty armchairs and pugs gone unrubbed. I was still Sten, but alive only in Jewel's memories. She loved, and I loved her, guided her every move, erected monuments within the house, and swelled my love yet again of puggery. Jewel became the pug lady, though I was still a world for two. Where Sten once was, now there were over 28 pugs, always siring more in the grunts and convulsions of pug making. I was dogs run rampant. I was a nuisance on the entire neighborhood. My love was dogs shitting in distant yards and attacking children on the playground. The day came when the community banded together and demanded the municipality do something about Pug Lady. Once love becomes a fire, it does not die at once, even after severance. The coals are spread so the embers choke. The municipality stripped Jewel of our home. Every counter polished by years of friction, every sun-bleached shadow of a picture frame, and all the possessions my love could not fit into 3 suitcases was stolen. A new family moved in, and my flame perished under their own noxious love. My pugs were divvied, sold, or euthanized for their dog wear and dog tear. The state placed Jewel in a facility with a persistent mold smell. My love became waterlogged, cramped, and lonely. I was a single wall of framed pug art, a comforter, photos, and pug trinkets. I burned so dim Jewel could not read by my light. She smeared my residue over handrails and second-rate cutlery, but it dissolved quickly, other hands wiping it clean. I had once known an empire. Now, each year, every shuffle of patience, my personal space decreased. My oldest pug blanket grew ratty, chewed and spit upon until it stank and crinkled. The nurses threw that part of me away. When Jewel searched for my blanket piece and could not find me, she shattered. I was a duffel bag with frameless photos, a salt and pepper shaker with pug faces, and 3 of the remaining pug sweatshirts. This was all the hospice allowed when Jewel made her short visit. My love was flickers. As Jewel faded, one day, I felt familiar eyes upon me. I saw how small I had become, how my love had fallen. It was the boy. It had come to pay its respects. The boy was now an adult, but they did not wear traditional clothes. In their attire, I saw a reflection of Sten, of Jewel, however distorted. On the adult's stained sweatshirt, a cat's face grinned proudly. The adult removed a phone to show a picture of a lover, and I saw a tubby tabby in the background. I hardly recognized this person, but I found the years had not separated us. The adult bent to inspect the duffel bag and rearranged my love. The once boy placed the salt and pepper pugs on the window next to a fading photograph of Sten. My last room didn't have a window, Jewel told the former boy. Hospice has been a nice upgrade. I stretched tendrils of myself with every word out of Jewel, hoping to catch my flame on the adult. No matter what I made Jewel say, the memories we stirred, my flame would not take. Jewel's love once again was lopsided, a lung that could breathe out but not in. But there was at least a love in the adult, if not my own. My kind would continue. The heart monitor flatlined, and I was no longer bound by a body. A nurse held my former hand while the life in the body stopped its burning. Life, it was a fire like me, and I watched it die. But I did not. Not yet. The nurse picked up the last pieces of my love from the windowsill. She placed me in a paper bag, labeled me with Jewel's name, and deposited the bag in a cubbyhole for pickup by the next of kin. 90 days passed, and the boy never came. The sweaters were thrown away with the photos, each rotted. The salt and pepper pugs remained, donated to a goodwill. I was embers, but still I burned. I didn't need bodies. Objects can bear love, tell a story of what once held them, and my residues blazed still. Yes,
The worker at the Goodwill inspected my salt and pepper shakers. They could sense my weight, smell my char. Somber-faced, the worker tied a string around me, a joined pair. Separate, my mass might have earned $6, $7 per shaker. But together, my love born of pugs and alive in tandem, I was 10 whole dollars. Thus the story told, and so it was decreed, that the love of pugs alone could not sustain 3.
This story must be told.